Hey guys, Colby coming to you from Muffler Tech again. Today I'm going to do a video on the 992 GT3 and doing some exhaust upgrades from JCR. We have two separate cars here. You can see the gray black, the paint to sample gray black behind me, and then we have a chalk car that's on the lift back there that we've already started taking apart. I am going to give you some before and afters of the stock exhaust system versus the two separate offerings that JCR offers in titanium, one being a Valvetronic unit and the other being a static unit. So here we go. So the chalk car is going to be receiving the JCR Valvetronic piece, and just to give you kind of an explanation of what's happening here, these kind of ram horn looking things are the adapters that go against the backside of the GPF, the gas particulate filter. You can see that this area here, huge outlet on these things, and that's why these have such a strange shape. And of course there's one for both sides. And the exhaust then comes together into what you see here as an X pipe, and then here's the flange for mounting the titanium tips. This exhaust system is going to utilize the motors that control the PSE valves. The motors are going to bolt to the backside there of the flange, and they're going to control a flap in here. So when the PSE is off, that will be closed, and the exhaust will travel into the pipe, hit the closed flap, and then have to get forced through this small resonator muffler here, and then it gets pushed back and dumped back into the exhaust system before it enters into the X pipe, and then of course out the tips. So when you open the PSE, this flap will open. Works very similar to the throttle body, and the exhaust is going to travel straight through, basically bypassing this section here, and go up and go straight out through the tips. Now, the way this works is, and what I expect with the comparison of the other system, which I'll go over in the specifics in a minute, but I suspect this system, even with PSE on, will still be a little bit quieter than the other system, as sound waves will still be able to get into these two small mufflers and reduce the sound a little bit, but we're certainly going to find out. The gray-black, this PTS car, is going to get the more simplified version that comes from JCR. Again, titanium, same outer pieces that bolt to the GPF outlets, but you can see it's the system here in the center doesn't incorporate any valves. It's just basically a muffler bypass that uses an X pipe design here, and then comes out into the tips there on the flange. So this system will end up being a static system, meaning the PSE will no longer have anything to do with the sound of the car. These are less money, a little bit lighter, a little bit less complex to install. However, when you put these in, these mounts here are for the motors. The motors have to stay hooked up to the car, and then this bag of hardware here, these go on the end of the motor, and you can see what they do is they have stop points. So the motor can still operate and move to a stop point, and as far as the car is concerned, it sees the same resistance as the valves that work in the stock muffler. Now this car is still together, and this is the one we're going to use as our baseline for some decibel readings, some before and after. All right, here we go. Let me show you how scientific we are. We take a regular old muffler stand, we mark it on the ground to make sure we put it back in the same spot, and set our meter right here on top of it, and the car is over there. So this way we can get a good comparison and not have to worry about variables. Now, one of the things we also consider too is background noise. We're in an operational shop, and even though we have a wall that divides our front shop from our back through this door here, you can see up front we are working on cars up front, and there's going to be some noise, and so we're going to do our best to kind of avoid that from affecting. We've got a GT4 up there getting a soul system, but just keep in mind that This isn't perfect science, but we do it as closely as we can. Okay, so we're going to start in regular touring mode where the valves are closed. And we've already warmed the car up, but the vehicle software will now allow us to go over 4,000 RPM, which will also keep things consistent. But it'll still give us an idea on good measure here. So, Glenn, go ahead and rev it up. One more time. Okay, I'll go about 99 or so. Okay, let's put it in track. Okay, so PSE is on now. Go ahead. 117 was the high there, so 115 to 117. So that'd be your stock muffler. Okay, all finished getting that JCR valve system on this chalk GT3. Just kind of show you the tips. Now these are JCR titanium tips. These are coated in black at the customer's request. And it's kind of hard to show you in there, but you can see kind of inside and above the diffuser the exhaust system once it's on the car. So let's go ahead and get some dB measurements and give you guys an idea of difference. And just quickly I'll show you, we also did the calipers on this car. They were ordered in black, like the car above it, and the customer had us go ahead and refinish those in chalk with black script. So give you an idea what that looks like. We like the improvement. Let us know what you think about that in the comments. All right, just like earlier, we have the stand in the same spot. We've got the meter sitting in the same spot, and the car is at the same spot that the gray one was that we used for our baseline. Glenn's gonna go ahead and start it. We're gonna start in regular normal mode on the setting on the car, which on this car is set to have the valves closed. Since we have them both, and the PTS gray black car is still stock, and the chalk car has the JCR on it, we're going to give you a demonstration of both so you can hear them together. Go ahead, guys. Okay, we're going to start off in quiet mode. Go ahead, Joe. All right, all installed on the PTS gray black car. Just a reminder, this is the JCR system that deletes the valves. So it's just a straight pipe setup with an X pipe, all titanium, as we talked about before. Go ahead and start it, Glenn. All right, we've already warmed the car up just because we want to be able to rev it up without worrying about oil temperature. So this is not a cold start. We idle right around 80. All right, go ahead and rev it up. So before we get into driving the car and giving you guys some driving impressions, I wanted to go quickly over something that's a fact around measuring decibels. So one of the things that some of you may argue or may point out is that the measurement on some of those examples between those two cars of dB wasn't that different, not extremely different. We're not talking about a gain of 10 or 15 or 20 decibels on the open valve setting or the static system. And I want to point out, not only is there a large difference of sound between titanium and the stock exhaust system just from the material difference. Titanium has a much different pitch to it. It's resonant tone because of its properties of the steel or the metal that's in titanium. The properties of titanium versus stainless steel is going to change the sound, going to give you a much higher pitch, a little bit more tinny. Certainly something I prefer. That's a subjective conversation, but also being louder and trying to demonstrate that in measurement by a decibel meter, in which we did. And so I don't want anybody to get discouraged around either of these exhaust systems that I'm showing you by example here, in that the difference isn't that big. Clearly it was pretty big when we're talking about the valve closed versus the stock. That's where it seemed to make the big difference between the two. But I assure you, in person, the difference on either setting of the valve unit is pretty big, and certainly the static system that's set up. And I just wanted to quickly read something about decibels. The quietest audible sound perceived near total silence is 0 dB. A sound 10 times more powerful is 10 decibels. A sound 100 times more powerful than near total silence is 20 decibels. A sound 1,000 times more powerful than near total silence is 30 decibels, 40 decibels, and so on. So you can see how the scale works on decibel measurement, and how it's difficult to quantify the 1 or 2 or 3 decibel differences, even 10 decibel differences, when we're talking about a car that's measuring over 100 dB. All right, let's talk about driving impressions. The big difference, of course, is going to be a lot more sound inside of the cabin, a little bit more enjoyment around the 9,000 RPM red line. And just so everybody knows, this car has already been through its 932 miles of break-in. So let's give it a whirl. All right, start up, get my seatbelt on. Let's do it safe here. Just so everybody's also aware, I've already warmed this car up. So let's go. Immediately, even on just takeoff, I can hear a difference. It is, I would say, probably twice as much as the car's set with PSE on. The exhaust works in either configuration. All right, starting from a standstill, let's see here. Oh my God, it's glorious, you guys. This is a must-do. You got to do it. It makes the car sound so much better. The only problem with it is there's not enough road to stay at 9,000 RPM for very long. Sum it up, I believe this is a necessary modification for this car. I mean, let's face it, these cars are so expensive, they sound so good. Why not make them sound that much better? So look us up, Muffler Tech. We're a dealer for JCR, many other high-end exhaust systems for different high-end cars, and we'd love to help you out. Thanks so much for watching the video. You guys have a great day.